Mr. Ahmed Attaf, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Efforts of Algeria, Your Excellencies Ministers, Your Excellencies Council members, ladies and gentlemen, may the mercy of God be upon you. At the outset, I would like to express my deepest gratitude and appreciation to the Algerian presidency for organizing this highly important meeting. This meeting reflects our collective commitment to address the phenomenon of terrorism, which constitutes a grave threat to international peace and security, especially in our African continent. We highly value the pioneering role of Algeria and the experience of Algeria in combating terrorism. It is an example to follow to confront extremism and violence. I would also like to express my deepest gratitude and appreciation to Ms. Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, and Mr. Bankole Adoye and Mr. Saïd Djinnit for their valuable briefings that set the scene for our discussion today. Terrorism in Africa is not merely a security threat. It is a highly complex phenomenon that affects the stability of our countries and the future of our peoples. But our continent is not standing idly by, is not silent. Africa today has been launching pioneering initiatives, has been putting forward creative solutions, and it is time for us to tell our story, to shed the light on our successes and experiences that have demonstrated the effectiveness of African solutions throughout the continent. 20 years ago, we established the AU Counterterrorism Center. It epitomizes the African resolve to confront this phenomenon through local African solutions. Through initiatives such as the Nouakchott process, we enhance intelligence coordination and joint operations in the Sahel and the Sahara. The Accra initiative has become an effective platform to address organized crime and to stop the spread of terrorism in West Africa. Mr. President, I would like to share with you the experience of my country, Somalia, that is on the front line to counter terrorism in the Horn of Africa. Over the past 2 years, the Somali government, in cooperation with our regional and international allies, has been able to recover vast swathes of territories where more than 3 million people live. These territories were under the control of the terrorist Al-Shabaab group and Daesh. They are two of the most dangerous terrorist groups in Africa. We adopted comprehensive strategies based on 3 main pillars: ideological measures, military operations, and drying up the sources of terrorism financing. At the financial level, we succeeded in closing more than 500 financial accounts that were used to finance terrorist activities inside and outside the country. All illegal checkpoints have been dismantled. Those checkpoints were used by Al-Shabaab to impose illegal taxes. Those responsible for collecting funds for Al-Shabaab have been arrested. The Somali Parliament has also enacted legislation to close any legal loopholes that are being used to support terrorist activities and to enhance transparency and accountability. These measures reflect the commitment of the Somali government to enhancing the rule of law and degrading the financial capabilities of extremist groups, and that contributes to restoring security and stability. At the ideological level, We know that terrorist organizations have misused Islam to achieve their goals, and that attracted many young people. In this context, we organized a national conference of religious leaders and religious scholars. It brought together 300 scholars, and that led to a consensus on a single approach that exposes extremist ideologies and refutes the erroneous allegations put forward by terrorist groups. Religious scholars issued fatwas, religious opinions, that prove that the interpretations of Islam that they're using are skewed, that prove that the acts of terrorist groups have nothing to do with Islam. These fatwas contributed to rectifying erroneous notions, contributed to undermining attempts by terrorist groups to recruit young people. They enhanced the correct interpretation of Islam based on moderation and mercy. At the military level, our forces continue their decisive counterterrorism operations, especially against Daesh and Al-Shabaab. Our forces made tangible achievements in restoring peace, security, and stability. Over the past 2 years, Somali forces have been able to liberate around half of the territories that were under the control of Al-Shabaab, and the state sovereignty has been restored in these areas. As part of our commitment to achieve stability, our efforts have not been confined to military operations. We also focused on providing basic services to people that were living in the liberated areas, that live in liberated areas, including educational services, health services, infrastructure, to ensure return to normalcy and to enhance trust between citizens and the state institutions. Our experience proves that terrorism does not recognize any national borders, making multilateral cooperation an absolute necessity. But we cannot ignore the negative impact of foreign interferences. Those interferences aggravate existing challenges. In this context, we highly value the vital role played by EUSOM to enhance stability and security. We value the continuous efforts of this mission to ensure peace and security and stability in Somalia. We are fully cognizant of the fact that military solutions alone are insufficient. We therefore call for adopting a comprehensive approach that addresses the root causes of terrorism through 3 pillars. First of all, linking development to security. Extremism thrives in an environment of poverty and unemployment. This is why sustainable development must be at the core of our counterterrorism strategies. In this context, it is important to reform the international financial architecture to support our development goals. It is unacceptable that Africa allocates $163 billion to pay its debts in 2024, while these resources could be used to enhance stability and development. Second, ensuring sustainable financing for peace. The adoption of Resolution 2719, which allows for financing AU peacekeeping operations from the UN budget by no less than 75%, is a historic step. But it is important to fully implement this framework. This is the key to ensure the sustainability of African efforts to counter terrorism. Third, enhancing cooperation between African institutions and UN mechanisms while maintaining African leadership. African solutions are the most appropriate to address African challenges, but they need to be enhanced through just international partnerships that support our capacities without prejudice to our sovereignty. The experience of Somalia has proven that combining military, economic, and ideological measures allows for achieving tangible and effective results. Mr. President, despite the grave challenges, our commitment to the Silencing the Guns initiative remains firm. Our vision of a prosperous and secure African continent is the driving force behind our efforts. We believe that African solutions is the only way to achieve our collective security, and this is what unites us. Our strength stems from our unity, and our success hinges on our commitment to our principles and common goals. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Muallim Fiqi for his statement. And I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Carlos Ruiz Hernandez,